Good afternoon and welcome to the daily vlog for Wednesday the 2nd of July. Hope everybody is well. I'm going to go straight into the jobs I've done today because there's a couple of things I think are worth elaborating on. So, very quick recap. Yesterday I did this job from Colchester down to Dulwich, southeast 22, where the goods were refused. The goods were returned at a fair price back to Colchester. 2 pallets were offloaded and then the correct 2 pallets were put on for delivery this morning. That's fine. So this morning everything's perfect. I've got a nice early start, dropped the wife off in Colchester at 6:15 and made my way down to Dulwich. Quick stop for petrol or fuel on the way down, so diesel not petrol. But it still took 3 and a bit hours. Traffic as always, A12, M25, Dartford Bridge, and then on the A2 going in towards London and South Circular, you just crawl at 5 miles an hour continuously if you're lucky. So I got there just after 9:30, and what I was going to elaborate on was the importance of how you sign for goods. So when I loaded, the builders, merchants asked me to sign, and it said on there 75 blocks on 2 pallets, and I always, this goes back to my transport days, I always sign contents and condition unknown. The 2 pallets were both shrink wrapped with the manufacturer's logo on, heavy duty shrink wrapping, so you couldn't see the state of any of the blocks inside of the shrink wrap. When their shrink wrap's taken off and the builders start to handball the blocks off, it was noticeable some were damaged, and in total there was about 15 of them had been damaged. And of course the builders on site signed the delivery note to that effect. So it's so important just to get yourself out of any possible trouble that the goods have been damaged in transit, and that's why I always sign for anything contents and condition unknown. So hopefully the builders will sort that out with the supplier, and I just step out the equation of any damage that happened to the goods. So that was all delivered. I was empty by about 10:30, and same as yesterday, that's a job of about 67 miles, and I got 135 for that. It's a good price on it. It's a London delivery, and it's say 3 and a bit hours to get there, and I'll talk about London deliveries I think in a future episode when I've got a bit of time. So all done now. There's going to be no work around South East London. Had a quick look, didn't expect anything, so I always make my way back down the South Circular towards the A2 and back out towards Dartford, which starts to give me a better scope of work. And on the way, job come up from Erith, which is, if you don't know, is just by Dartford, and that was 2 drops, one into Romford and then onto a village halfway between Chelmsford and Harlow. Total 37 miles direct, and I quoted £60 on that, which I think is a fair price. It was a small van job. Now, what I was going to say is one of the problems of being a courier on CX, not having your own customers, you really bid for jobs blind. Quite often there might be something in the notes telling you you're picking up 1 pallet, 2 pallets, dozen boxes, handball, etc. But on the whole, you really are bidding blind. You don't know where you're picking up from exactly, where you're delivering to exactly, and most times no idea what you're picking up. And this was boxes of cooking oil. They're containers inside boxes. The handle with the container shows. I think we've probably all done those sort of jobs. I don't particularly like those jobs. They're heavy containers at my age. They're smelly containers as well. And it's not a job in an ideal world I'd want to do if I knew where I was collecting, where I was delivering, and what the goods were. But I've been on the job, I've been offered the job, and of course I've accepted the job on the CX, and the details all appear. To be fair, the loading point were brilliant. They knew exactly what I was picking up. They brought the goods out. The guy took each container off the pallet, put it onto the van, and I just sorted them out on the van to each delivery. One was one colour and one was another colour, so it's all very straightforward. No paperwork there, no paperwork to sign for, so I had to sit there and make my own delivery notes out. Absolutely no issue. Then the deliveries. So the first one was to a cafe in a shopping centre in the middle of Romford. Now fortunately I used to live next door to Romford, so I knew the CAF, I knew exactly where it was, I knew where the loading bay for the shopping centre was, so that was all very, very straightforward. But then I've got to get 9 of these containers up to the CAF. So what I did first, I went up to the CAF by foot just to make sure they wanted them up in the CAF itself, which they did. Came back, got my sack barrow out, and I've got a flat tyre, would you believe it, on the sack barrow. So fortunately there was a couple of empty supermarket trolleys lying around, so I grabbed one of them. Had to do 2 runs because I couldn't get all the containers in, and because the lift was broken as well. There was a secondary lift, but because you've got to do a little bit more walking to get that, and then more walking when you get up onto the first floor. So a little bit of a ball ache, but we did it, we got it all done. Pictures taken, delivery notes signed. The second drop was actually fine. It was country house in the village where they do weddings and events, and once we finally found the right person to accept, the chef to accept the delivery, that was fairly straightforward, and him and another assistant chef helped take the containers off. So it was all fine in the end. I'm making a mountain out of a molehill there, but it's just one of those things, you do go in blind on so many jobs, and it's only through experience. Again, you youngsters are probably starting out in this business, it's only through experience you get to see these jobs. If that comes up again, I probably wouldn't bid on it, but that's nothing wrong with the shipper. He's a good shipper, always pays on time, lots of varied work, and the price I got for the job I was happy with. It's just the actual job is something I wouldn't like to do. Very similar to hospitals. I've now got to learn, when the post jobs come up and the postcodes, that's probably going to be a hospital job. They're not jobs for me. I find the fact of parking, although I normally always go to the stores, because if you go to hospital, when you go to the stores department, they've normally got somewhere for you to park, and you can also bypass any parking situation that hospital might have by entering your details on a little computer. But it's traipsing around the hospital, up a lift, down a corridor, finding the right department, then finding the right person, and again, you might not know how many boxes you're picking up or what you're picking up, and it's the same with delivery, and I just find them a total ball ache, so I try to avoid them. Anyway, so 2 jobs, 135 and 60, that's £195. After that, the second delivery, I've stopped, had some lunch and had a little look. Nothing really that suits, and again, I'm very fortunate. I do not have to chase loads of money, so I'm more than happy with that money for the day. And let's say it's now 3:30 and I'm making my way home, and I should be home for 4:30, and I can park up, have a nice shower, and I'm going to go for a walk and a cup of tea down in the marina again, and that's my day done. So I hope everyone's had a decent day, and yep, take care, and we'll speak tomorrow. Thanks very much, all the best, Paul.